Hello there folks and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Spoiler alert, we're going to the moon this episode, so yeah. Alright, in preparation for that, we're going to, get some missions, There we go. We'll do the land on the moon contract. And essentially land a vessel on the surface of the moon to achieve this goal. Simple enough. Plant a flag on the moon, we can do that. Explore the moon. Achieve orbit around the moon, we can do that. Transmit and recover data from space around the moon, we can do that. Land on the moon, we can do that. Transmit and recover scientific data from the surface of the moon, we can do that. Oh man, that's going to be a lot of good solid science right there. And not to mention money if we can manage to get this done, because we're going to need a pretty massive rocket to get there. I'm guessing we're going to just have to make a slight adjustment to the rocket that we made previously, but I believe we'll be able to get there no problem. Let's just take a look. Any other ones that look fun? Perform visual surveys, take a crew report in space above 8,300 meters near... I don't know how to figure out those areas. I'm going to have to look up that. Still need to do that. Otherwise, I would probably do that too. But I'm not entirely sure where HN2J1 is. That must be something to do with the tracking center. I bet I could look at that. But we're not going to do that contract. Not this time. We can do that with a satellite or something. Oh, actually, no, it says take a crew report, so we can't do that with a satellite. Oh, well. So we have all these 4 ones. Well, except for the Rockomax brand decoupler. That one's not a big priority. Right now, landing on the moon, planting a flag on the moon, and exploring the moon are the ones that we're going to go for. Also, we have a little bit of science. I decided to go around and do a little bit of science around the center. That's not too much fun. You essentially walk a Kerbin around and do crew reports and stuff like that in different areas around the Kerbin Space Center. And you get a little bit of science from that. I could probably do some more and get some more science, but meh. I don't feel like grinding. We'll do science the old-fashioned way, going to the moon. Alright. Well, I think we should make ourselves a rocket, so I'll be right back with such a thing. Alright, I think this ought to do it. This is a very slight modification of the rocket that we used previously, and by slight modification, I mean we strapped a shit ton of solid rocket boosters to it. That ought to do the trick. Also, where we had all our science, we now have a lander, which I forgot to put landing gear on. I'll put that on in just a second. So, let's take a look at the actual lander itself. As you see, there's a heat shield up here. That's for re-entry. And it's on the top, but that's fine. We'll just flip our ship over and it'll be upside down when re-entering the atmosphere. And the big heat shield will definitely protect us. It'll also protect our parachutes and our comsat and our batteries and our goo container, which we are going to be bringing back with us. So, there's that. I believe there's a thermometer on there too. So we have all of our science equipment that's going to the moon that we're going to be doing on the moon. So there we go. All right. And if you notice, this is going to be our lander. It's going to have 3 of these small little liquid fuel engines with liquid fuel tanks, and they will get us, well, actually, I'm hoping this big solid engine is going to slow most of our descent. I'm hoping that will be the case. But if it isn't, we have enough fuel here. And then there should be enough fuel to bring us off of the surface of the moon. And then this little fuel tank here will have quite a lot of Delta V, and it will be able to get us back home. Also, there's a little decoupler here because when we enter the atmosphere, we don't want our engines with us. That's just a big hassle. And as always, they have cross-feed capability with these yellow fuel lines. So when these outside fuel tanks are empty, the middle fuel tank will still be full. And as well as that, we still have our solar panels. We have a new comsat on the side, which is a little bit better than the last one. I think that's about it as far as changes go. And because there's only one person in here, we're going to be taking a pilot with us. And of course, it's got to be Jeb. So Jeb is coming with us. I think that's it, except for the fact that we need some landing gear. That'd be under utility, some landing struts. Get some... There we go. Probably more than 3 would be best. One there. And one there. Yeah, that looks good. I think they're about even too. Yeah, that should do it. All right, so we're gonna save this, make sure our staging is correct. So when we press the space bar, these massive rockets, solid rocket boosters, will start up. All 12 of them, and yes, there are 12 because it's 6-way symmetry for these, and there are 2 solid rocket boosters for every liquid fuel engine. So there's going to be 12 of those, and when those are done, the decouplers disconnect for both of the solid fuel engines on each liquid fuel engine, and then the liquid fuel engines start up, and the center liquid fuel engine starts up, and then it's the same staging as before. Then the liquid fuel engines on the side disconnect, and then eventually when this big guy runs out, that will disconnect, and it will leave the lander portion. So that's where the lander portion is. All of these 4 engines will start up, and then when the liquid fuel on the outer tanks runs out, they disconnect, leaving just this little engine here with the Terrier engine, I believe is what it's called. And then eventually when we make it back to Kerbal, we'll disconnect the engine, and then we'll flip ourselves upside down, heat shield towards the atmosphere, and make a nice re-entry. And we have 2 parachutes to help slow us down, so there we go. I could have gone with the smaller heat shield. However, I don't think that would have protected all of the equipment that we have on re-entry, such as parachutes and stuff. And we're going to be coming in quite hot and quite quick, because I probably won't have any fuel to help slow us down. So, alright, enough talk. Let's launch this bad boy. Alright, this is going to be a bit tricky, I think, because these solid fuel engines are incredibly hard to control. Oh, and as you can see, this actually, you know what? I'm going to recover the vessel. Actually, I'm actually just going to revert flight back to the vehicle assembly building. Change of plans. It's going to stay a wobbly noodle. I think it looks cool that way. Anyhow, let's launch. I think I may have put too many rockets on here. I didn't realize that we'd be going this fast. Uh-oh. Yeah, we'll be fine. We have fins on here. We can control it. At least when we're in the lower atmosphere. And hopefully we don't actually burn up while going up, because I just realized we're going to be going really quick. Hope we don't lose anything. We'll be fine. What could go wrong? Except for, flipping out of control, which is entirely plausible explanation for what's going to happen, because I just realized the top of our ship is incredibly heavy, especially after we put all of this stuff on the top. We might actually encounter some flipping when we stop here. Hey, we didn't flip. That's cool. Alright, well, let's continue going up. We're going to wait until we're at the thinner part of the atmosphere before we start turning. Okay, well, we can start our gravity burn right now, but I don't want to do it too much right now because we still do have a pretty significant amount of drag on the front of our ship. Even though we are in the upper parts of the atmosphere, this is a lot of drag to put on a ship. But despite the fact we still had our wobbly noodle design, it worked just fine. And we're going awful quick right now, so I think it doesn't really matter. I think I might actually be able to wait until we're at our apoaps, which is pretty far up right now, before we start burning at the horizon markers. So I'm actually going to start tipping. Holy crap, this thing tips slow. Should have put an SAS on it. That's one thing I should have done. Oh well. Things are going well enough, at least. Let's tip this guy over and turn off the SAS, and then we'll turn it on at the marker where we want it to stay. Okay, so we are in space, definitely very much so right now. And once we get on that 90-degree mark, I'm going to start our burn-in. We still have a massive amount of fuel left. Those solid rocket boosters definitely did their job. Ooh, up too fast. Okay, well, we are near our apoaps, so I'm going to start burning. And there we go. We're going to keep it right there. And our prograde marker is going to move towards the horizon, which is exactly what we need it to do. As you can see, it's moving right now. Once the prograde marker is somewhere along the horizon, actually it needs to be somewhere below the horizon for us to be near an orbit. Alright, there we go. Let's get rid of those guys. Goodbye, you served us well. Now we have this massive amount of fuel to help bring us to the Mun and land us on the Mun, hopefully. I know we still have a lot of fuel to get us into orbit and to bring us to the Mun, but I think we'll be fine. And then we have to orbit the Mun to get one of our objectives completed. So, let's see here. Achieve orbit around the Mun. Actually, we already did that. But we need to land on the Mun and transmit scientific data around the Mun. And what other things? Plant a flag on the Mun. That's right. Okay, well, we are getting close to... Well, we're getting near orbital velocity. Oh, why did I stop? I think we need to be going around 2,000 meters per second. Somewhere around there, and then we'll get around an orbit at this altitude. So about 500 more meters of delta V, and we are going to be there. Hey, we got some money from doing something. Because we had 2 million before. So what is this? Parameter, contract complete. Distance record, we'll delete that. Probably should look at where I'm going. Okay, yeah, we need to actually start burning up. Because we are past our apoaps. Let's burn right there and we should be fine. And once this thing flips around, we'll be all good. We almost have an orbit. We don't want our periaps to be in the atmosphere. In fact, if we have our periaps right about thereabouts, at 91,000 meters, we'll be just about eclipsing the Mun. That's probably where we'll want to make our burn, is somewhere around here. So if our periaps is around there, the Oberth effect will help us out. So that should be good. Alright, well, we are well on our way to the Mun now. At least mission-wise. We still have a decent amount of time to go. Actually, let's just speed up time until we are around the periaps. Probably thereabouts is where I'm going to stop. And, yep, there we go. Take a look. Do we see the Mun yet? Not yet. Well, hey there, Jeb. We're going to tell you to go prograde right now. It's going to take a while for him to do, but he will do it automatically because he's an awesome pilot. Let's just enjoy his piloting skill. He's having a fun time too, so that's what matters. Just about there, and nailed it. Alright, let's continue our way towards Mun. There we go, there it is. Alright, let's point prograde once more. There you go, Jeb. Point prograde for us. And half throttle should be fine. And then we'll hopefully make it around the Mun. I would like to land on the light side because I didn't bring any lights with us, and our entire spacecraft is solar powered once we get rid of that big engine back there. Alright, well, let's take a look at our fuel. We still have, well, a little bit less than half fuel left. So we should be fine. Should start expanding awful quick now. We'll probably have enough fuel to get into an orbit with this stage around the Mun, and the actual landing and descent is probably going to happen with the actual lander fuel. But I did account for that by bringing a whole bunch of lander fuel with us, so we should be able to get back to Kerbal with this mission. And at the very least, we'll be able to accomplish our missions, and then at a later date, when we have better rockets, we'll be able to rescue Jeb. But I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe it will. I don't know. Okay. Where's our periaps? That'll be good. We'll adjust it when we are a little bit closer. How much fuel do we have left? Decent amount. Enough to get us into an orbit, as I stated before. So we're going to go back onto stability assist, and actually we're going to have to go to retrograde probably. And let's take a look at this. See, what are we going to need to do to get into an orbit? Well, where's the sun actually? The sun's there, which means we're going to want to land on this side of the mun. So it's the bright side, and the periaps is going to be around here, which means if we burn at our apoaps here to reduce it, we'll land on the dark side. So we want the periaps to be on the other side of the mun. We want it to be on the light side of the mun, so we're going to add a maneuver. What happens if we just tweak it a little bit? Okay, now we are on the other side. Too much, so. Okay, that is actually, I don't know. We might actually be going on the other side of the mun, the inside of the mun anyways. Okay, well, we're actually going to have to wait and find out. I'm going to cancel that maneuver node, and we're going to go back to Jeb here. He's still trying to point us towards retrograde. Well, we'll just put him on stability assist. We'll get there eventually. All right. And let's zoom our way to the mun. Yeah, it looks like we're probably going to be coming on the inside of the mun. Yeah, we're going to be coming on. The periaps is going to be on the inside of the mun, I think. So we'll land on the bright side by the looks of it. Yeah, it's going to be on the inside. Definitely on the inside. Which is good. Which is exactly what we want. Yep, the periaps is on the bright side. Hooray. Which means we are going to add maneuver. How much delta V is that going to take to bring us into an orbit? Alright. It's alright if the apoaps is high, because that just decreases the amount of delta V we need if we need to burn towards retrograde to bring the periaps down. So let's take a look at the maneuver node. That is a whole 5 seconds burn time, 133 meters per second of delta V. That's not much at all. So let's go towards the maneuver node. Unfortunately, Jeb does not have the skill to go towards the maneuver node, which means we'll have to do it manually. Make sure that our time warp is off so we can actually move. All right. Let's move this guy. Slowly but surely we'll get there. We actually might have a little bit of fuel left in this to bring us down to the mun. Probably not enough to actually land. Certainly we're not landing on the big fuel tank, because that's essentially a bomb that we'd be landing on. But that does sound like something a Kerbal would try to do. Alright, and we're just about there, just about there. And a little bit more, a little bit more. And we're just about spot on the money right there. So, lock in our SAS. We have about 1 hour until the burn. So we're going to wait here in real time. Okay, just kidding. That would be painful. Let's speed up a little bit. Okay, 40-something minutes. So where are we going to want to land? Before we actually land, though, we're going to have to do some science from around the mun to complete our objective. So transmit or recover scientific data from space around the mun, land on the mun, transmit and recover science from the surface of the mun. So we're going to have to do that as well. T-minus 17 minutes. So we are almost there. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Should probably start slowing down time. And any second now we're going to want to burn. So T minus 2.5 would probably be the exact time when we'll want to burn. So that should be fine. Actually, it doesn't really matter at this point. So. And. Oh yeah, we're definitely going to have enough fuel to bring us down to the surface. Look at all that fuel we got. All right. It's going to be a little bit hard to control, but if we stay on the retrograde marker, we'll be fine. All right. Now, let's make sure we're in an orbit. We are in an orbit, so that means let's turn off the SAS. I want to position our spaceship so that some of our things are, or some of our solar panels are getting light. Because right now, some of them are kind of in shadow. Actually, no, that's fine. I'm sure some of them are getting some light, which means let's do a crew report. And we're going to transmit the data. And where is the... There is a comms around here somewhere. I think something's in the way so we can't see it. Where'd the comms go? Oh, there it was. Okay, so we got transmit or recover scientific data from around the Mun. Now all we have to do is land on the Mun and recover data from there, plant a flag, and we'll at least complete our missions. All right, didn't we have another mission? Land on the Mun, achieve goal. Yeah, we just have to land on the Mun, which is going to achieve one of our goals automatically. So let's wait until we are at our let's wait until we're at our Apple apps. Or yeah, at our Apple apps. So many different terms to try to remember. All right, let's go on this view right here. And right near Apple apps, we're going to turn around. Okay, there we go. Let's take a look. We still have full electric charge, so our solar panels must have been getting some light. Okay, Jeb. I guess we don't have the ability to tell him to go pro or retrograde right now, which is kind of annoying, but that's fine. We'll just...